Hello, bookish friends. My name is Gail, and I am the fiction bookworm. I'm so glad to welcome you today. I thought that today I would step back from talking about books and do the Booktuber Newbie Tag. I haven't done that yet, even though I'm about 4 videos in, and I thought it would be a great opportunity for me to let you all know a little bit more about me and what I bring to Booktube. So the first question is, why did I start this channel? And so it's part of a long dream of mine that I've had to do something like a Booktube or a podcast, and I've been wanting to do that for a very long time. I think it's part of the frustrated reader services librarian in myself. As an academic librarian, I love to talk about books, especially fiction books, and I don't get to do that very much at work. So it's just an outlet for me to be able to talk more about books. Yeah. So the second question is, what fun and unique thing do you bring to Booktube? So one of the unique things that I will bring to Booktube, besides my cute dogs, are as I've been watching Booktube videos, I haven't really found another Booktuber that is just like me as far as reading taste goes. It seems like there's a lot of people who review YA books, which is a genre I'd like to read more of, and there are a lot of people who review suspense and mystery and horror and romance, and so while those are all genres that I read, I see the occasional historical fiction book, not a lot, and that's probably the majority of what I read, and so I'm hoping to bring more historical fiction to Booktube and to people's awareness of good books that are out there that are historical fiction. The third question is, what are you most excited about for this channel? And I think for me it's just it's mostly learning new skills and talking about books. I think I am hopeful that people will enjoy what I'm bringing to Booktube and will become part of my community. People will watch it and comment and interact. But I think mainly it's just for me to learn a new skill and to recommend some great books. Why do you enjoy reading? And I would say for me, the main thing is learning things about people who are different than me and learning about history and historical events. One of my strengths, if you've ever done the Strengths Finder, one of my top strengths is context, which means I like to understand like the background of something. If you've ever heard of the podcast Throughline, they talk about like a current event today, but like where it started in history and why it got us to this point. So that's one of the things that I love about reading. I think that's one of the reasons why I really love historical fiction, but I also like to learn about other cultures as well, things that I've never experienced in my life. The fifth question is, what book or series really got you into reading? And so related to why I love reading, the book that got me into reading was when I was in 4th grade. It was called The Chickenpox Papers, and coincidentally I also had the chickenpox in 4th grade. And so it was a book that I could really understand and identify with because I had gone through that myself. And I think it was the first time I understood that books could speak to us in things we've experienced, things we identify with. But also, another one of my favorites as a kid was a book called Hail, Hail, Camp Timberwood, which I also read about that age. And it was about a girl who goes away to summer camp, which was something I never did as a kid. And so when people talk about going to summer camp, that's what I think of. I think of that book, and like that's my summer camp experience memory. And so those are some of the things that I love about books and why I'm really into reading, so that I can experience things that I otherwise wouldn't. So the sixth question is, what questions would you like to ask your favorite Booktubers? And so I think what I would ask, since I'm at the beginning, is how did you develop your online community? build your list of subscribers, build the people who will comment regularly. I think the community part is fun, and that's partly why I want to do this, is because I want to interact with people about books, and I feel like I'm struggling to do that. So that's what I would ask. How do you build that community around your channel? The next question is, what challenges do you think in starting a BookTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? And I think just like the last question, I think building that community is the hardest. I have done a little bit with video editing before at work as a librarian and building tutorials on how to do research. So that part I think has not been too big of a challenge so far. I'm having fun playing with that and having fun kind of doing branding type of things. But I think it's the building the channel and also being willing to be vulnerable about what I'm doing online with the people that I know, and having them see this part of me that they don't see maybe, you know, at work or in a professional setting. The next question is, when did you start reading? Which I kind of already answered. That was 4th grade. That was when I really learned to start reading, and I really took off like gangbusters. You know, by the time I was in 5th grade, I had read Gone with the Wind, which is an incredibly long novel, and I just really, once I got started reading, I just totally started consuming books. Where do you read is the next question, and this is a great one. So I have a few places that I like to read. My favorite place I'm going to share, I think, in another video on that I have planned in my head about reading and self-care. And so that is in my house, in my sunroom. And so I think mostly the other main place that I read is probably in bed at night. I am a fall asleep reading a book kind of person, wake up in the middle of the night, read for an hour kind of person with my e-reader on backlit. So those are probably the 2 main places that I read. Okay, and the last question is, what kind of books do you like to read? And so I really do read pretty eclectically. As I have said, my favorite is historical fiction, and that has pretty much always been my favorite. I think from the time I kind of understood, well, actually, I think I started with history. When I was in 5th grade, I read a biography of Queen Elizabeth I. It was actually a book about all the queens of England, and so that really got me started on the historical path. And so when I discovered there was fiction like that, I just really kind of just dived in. But I also do read mystery, suspense, romance. I'm working on getting more into YA. I've seen a lot of great suggestions on Booktube of books that I want to read in that genre. So yeah, I feel like I read somewhat eclectically. One strange fact about me that I will also be talking about, I think, in a future video, is the fact that I tend to read mostly just female authors, women authors. I tend to read mostly women authors. I used to read a lot more men, but really in the past 15 years, I've kind of narrowed down to where I only rarely read books written by men. So I kind of would like to delve a little deeper into that in a future video. So if any of this sounded interesting to you, please comment below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your attention, and I hope to get to know you better soon. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and be sure to subscribe to my channel. See you next time!